All right, so Mr. Israel, tell me, do you have a written or an oral lease with Ms. Durden or Mr. Zachary?
Yes, I do.
And when is that lease set to expire?
It's supposed to expire February 1st, but it's been breached.
Okay, it's supposed to expire February 1st. And how much is monthly rent, if any?
1800.
All right. Is there a late fee?
Yes.
How much is the late fee?
$50 after every day late.
Okay, well, we capped that at 10%, so it's going to be 180.
Okay.
And it's crazy for that. And then tell me as well, when's the last time the tenant has paid rent from any source?
That would be December.
Okay. So you're then ultimately looking for 1 month, January, and if I were to give you a writ of possession, then they would be 1 month, 5 days, because it would be available on the 5th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Anything else beyond this 1 month, 5 days that you're seeking this eviction?
Yes. They also left their vehicle abandoned for a month, which is a fee of $75. The car was broke down. They did not make me aware of that. It's in their lease, and I can tell you where the car where no vehicles should be abandoned on the property, and the car was abandoned.
And when you mean abandoned, just inoperable. They were
Inoperable.
living, yeah,
It
inoperable.
was inoperable. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it still there, or when did this occur?
Well, now it's working. It's operable now.
Was it?
Additionally,
Well, hold on.
okay,
The
okay.
vehicle.
hmm
Was it on bricks or something, or was it just not? How do you know it wasn't working?
Because I figured out that he couldn't move it. And then he
What?
sent a team over of his friends or whoever to try to fix it. And I was having some work done on the property and I asked him to move his vehicle.
All right, guys, buckle up, because this courtroom story starts with what seems like a straightforward eviction dispute. The landlord steps in claiming his tenants haven't paid the January rent of $1,800 and even adds another complaint about a supposedly abandoned vehicle sitting on his property. At first glance, it sounds like a routine landlord-tenant disagreement, but as the judge begins calmly questioning the details of a lease, the late fees, and the timeline of payments, you can already sense that this case might not be as simple as it appears.
He did not respond. He did not say anything. He just left the vehicle in place. So if he would have just told me that he couldn't move it, we could have worked out something. But instead of him communicating, he just didn't say anything and left it abandoned.
Was it in the driveway or was it on the grass? What's going on?
It was parked in a corner, but I needed a truck to be there, and he couldn't move his car.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, there's been some damage to the property. They broke a microwave. They wrecked the couch, and I haven't been. And they refused to let me in the property, which is against the lease as well. I've tried to enter the property several times. I've sent maintenance teams to enter the property to do repairs, and they have refused to let either my team or me enter the property. I've notified them. I notified them day of. I've notified them in.
Now the landlord begins piling on more accusations, trying to strengthen his case. He claims the tenants damaged several items inside the property, including a microwave and a couch, and says they repeatedly refused to let maintenance crews enter the apartment to make repairs. From his perspective, the tenants have been uncooperative and careless with the property, but the judge doesn't seem fully convinced yet, reminding him that many damage claims are usually addressed after tenants move out. The tension starts building as the court prepares to hear the tenant's side.
In advance, I've notified them and writing, and they refuse to answer the door to let
Okay.
repairs be done.
And
So
hold on. How long have they lived in the property?
it'll be 6 months by the end of this month.
Okay. So the primary thing is you're saying they haven't paid in January. You're saying
Hmm.
have any other issues. I'll be frank, many of the issues that damages that you're referencing would be more applicable after they vacated, like a security deposit issue. Post now, obviously, you don't have possession, and those things haven't been fully ascertained. So we'll kind of put a pin in that. So let me
Okay.
then speak with the defendants, okay? So
Okay.
let's start with Miss Durden. Miss Durden, can you unmute?
I surely can.
All right, I just want to confirm some of the information. Do you have a written lease with Mr. Israel?
Yes, I have a written lease.
Okay, and is Mr. Israel your landlord?
Yes.
Okay. And how much is monthly rent?
$1,800.
Okay. And do you have a late fee that you're aware of?
Yeah, the late fee that was written was at $50 a day, and this was something that I didn't know until we got ready to go through this process, which that would be
Okay.
my fault because I should have looked over that.
And so you said the last time you paid rent is when?
Rent was paid on December 1st, and notice was given on January 1st that we were telling Mr. Israel that he was breaching the lease. So then he filed the dispossessory in retaliation to that.
Okay, and you're saying he was, and you said he was breaching the lease. How are you saying he was breaching the lease?
On December 31st, he was asking for rent a day early. When he didn't get a response at midnight, he turned off the Wi-Fi that we need for work. He's done this a few times, but this was like absolutely ridiculous.
He
He
turned off the
closed the
Wi-Fi?
laundry facilities. I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Just let me confirm. You said he turned off the Wi-Fi. Is the Wi-Fi in his name or your name?
We were watching television when he turned the Wi-Fi off. And he did
Again,
not turn it back on until January 21st.
really?
Yes,
Is the Wi-Fi part of the rent or no?
it is. This is a furnished.
This is where the entire narrative suddenly flips. The tenant begins explaining why January's rent was never paid, and according to her, the landlord himself created the problem. She accuses him of cutting off the Wi-Fi that was supposedly included with the furnished apartment and even locking the laundry facilities. She claims this wasn't a one-time issue, but something that happened repeatedly, especially when the landlord demanded rent earlier than expected. Now what started as a simple eviction case is turning into a heated dispute over retaliation and broken lease conditions.
Apartment, the utilities are included in the rent. I put in several text messages that ever since November, when he was accusing us of taking eggs from his egg coop, he cut the internet off. Then we went back and forth. He did it again, same time in December. And then December 31st, when he asked for the rent early and he did not get a response because I felt like it was something that didn't need to be addressed, rent is due on the 1st. Then he cut off those utilities on at midnight. He closed the laundry facilities. I sent him a letter on January 1st, which I put in, I uploaded with my counterclaim, explaining all of that to him. That throughout, he told us he was going to have construction. He said it would be for a week. He asked to move the car. The construction has gone on since November. And there was concrete, there were saws, there was trash, cigarette butts, all these things were outside. And on top of those things, we were finishing out the 6-month term. So we're just getting ready to do this last month. And he's even changing the Wi-Fi code to these taunting and absolutely belligerent titles. Instead of turning it back on, there was one that said, "B better have my money." Another one was "energy takers." And this was after I wrote him the letter on the 1st. We were not served anything that said anything about he was possessing the property. In fact, when I told him he had breached the lease, he still wanted his rent. He was not going to let us out of the lease. He only asked one time, could the property people come, and they knocked once. And I had already told him no, because I felt like it was a volatile situation because Mr. Zachary couldn't work. They only knocked once. He never asked beyond that.
Hold on. So let me
Okay,
just make sure I understand. Let me just make sure I understand. I'm going to give Mr. Zachary an opportunity to speak as well. But
Okay.
you're saying that did you intend to pay rent in January or no?
We were yes. On the 31st, he turned off the utilities. At that point, on January 1st, I sent him a letter and told him we would like to be released from the lease because he breached it and we wanted to move.
All right, and just so any other utilities cut off or just the internet?
Just the usage of the laundry facility.
How did he cut off the usage of the
He
laundry?
posted a note on the door that says out of order, and he locked it so that we can't get in.
Does he live at this place? Does he live at the residence as well, or is this like
yes, it's a basement apartment, Your Honor.
Oh, it's a basement apartment. So he lives upstairs. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you said that you didn't get any notice about what's going on?
No.
How did you find out that he wanted you to vacate?
The person that serves you came to the door.
What about beforehand?
No.
Okay. All right. Mr. Zachary, do you have anything to include or add? Hold on, you got to unmute yourself, and then Ms. Durden, you'd have to mute yourself. And Mr. Zachary, it might work better for you if you just stay still.
I have a litany of things. I have my... Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what's going on?
Hello? Yep. All right, we signed the lease on the 5th. On my lease, it goes from the 5th to the 5th. So it's not the 1st to the 1st. I have it in my hand. We moved in on the 5th. We move out on the 5th. We signed the lease on the 5th. Everything was included, the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi password was Luxury 23 Life C. August the 12th, he invited us for Margarita Tuesday. We didn't respond. On August the 13th, the internet stopped working for 2 days. Then it came back on. I didn't think nothing of it at the time. On August the 25th, the power went out, but it was because we had a power outage. On the 26th, he didn't want to fix the power outage. He blamed me for messing with the alarm system to cut off the power outage. On September the 19th, he woke me up at 8:30 in the morning, banging on the door. I go to get the door, answer the door. He said he smells marijuana throughout the house. I don't even smoke. He barged in the room and couldn't find no marijuana, no ashtray or anything. On October the 1st, at about 8 o'clock in the morning, he woke me up, banging on the door, talking about the government shutdown. He needed his money and he needed it now. I'm like, brother, it's the 1st. Like, what's going on? I end up paying him later on that day. On November the 14th, he has cameras around the house. He says somebody took some wire cutters and broke into the chicken coop. He talked to Frida about breaking in, somebody broke into the chicken coop. She's asked her that me or any of my friends, and I don't have any friends, would have done this. On November the 16th, on November the 15th, he asked me face to face about the chicken coop. I laughed in his face because it's funny to me. I'm like, brother, we in the nice neighborhood. There's no crackheads. There's nothing around here. Ain't nobody broke in no chicken coop and took no eggs. He didn't like that. So on November the 16th, he cut off the internet. I told him, I said, hey, bro, I got to go to work. What's going on? Because, like, he cut off our internet, but it's a big screen TV and alarm system that's hooked up to his internet upstairs. So he tell us the internet and the whole house off. We looking at the TV on his internet. And I'm like, brother, cut the internet on. I got to go to work. On November the 22nd, after he accused me of stealing chicken eggs, he changed. You know how you can see people change, like when you try to log into the user ID, you see different names pop up. I seen bitch gotta have my money, fuck nigga need to quit playing with me. I seen all type of derogatory stuff. And we looking at it, I'm like, dang, he just changing this stuff. He really this gangster. And then he stopped and then changed it to stop stealing my shit, create. He changed that. And I told him, I said, hey, brother, that's offensive. Are you implying that I stole? He says, my internet, I do what I want to. On November the 25th, November the 26th, I had a package delivered. I have a package delivered. They deliver the package. I get the beep, 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 the package been delivered. I go to my mailbox, because we got separate mailboxes. My package ain't in the mailbox. I said, maybe they put it at the door. Boom, it's not at the door. I call him. He don't answer his phone. I go upstairs around the house, knock on the door. I knock on the door, the little dog come out. They come out. He tried to put the dog back in, see me run in the back.
Then things escalate even further when the second tenant begins listing a long series of strange conflicts with the landlord. He talks about being accused of stealing eggs from a chicken coop, the internet mysteriously shutting off, suspicious Wi-Fi name changes that seemed like taunts, and even a missing package that he believes the landlord took. On top of that, he claims construction around the house created dangerous conditions for his child. What was once a basic rent dispute now sounds like a chaotic living situation filled with accusations from both sides.
Boom. So I'm like, dang, I'm like, brother, you just got my package. What you got my package in your house for? I go downstairs, do laundry. The next day, he ended up coming outside from the chicken coop. He come outside from the chicken coop. I said, hey, brother, like, why you got my package in your house? He was like, I said, did the package come from me? He said, I don't know, maybe. He wouldn't even look me in my eye like a man. I go upstairs. Now magically, my package is outside. Now my package got some holes in it. Like he don't let the dogs eat it or something. I get my package, I'm like, so my mom on the phone, she like, hey, you need to get up out of there. He don't know who he messing with. I say, you know what, I'm gonna pray on it. So then after that, December the 1st, they started doing the they started doing the construction about the stuff in December. They started doing the roof work about the house. They done built the whole chicken coop outside. Now my car's parked right there. In the lease, this parking spot is mine. It's in the lease, say you got one parking spot, it's yours. I left my car in the parking spot. They started doing roofing work in the house. They built a whole damn house behind the house. There's ladders and stuff. I can't go outside or anything. My kid can't go out and play or anything, brother. I'm like, hey, bro, so the Mexicans, these little illegal immigrants, they leaving buzzsaws. My son outside, he's a child. He finna eat a nail. I'm like, hey, this is not good, man. If I knew you were gonna build a house and you're gonna build it and then it's saws going on there, I can't work, she can't work. We missing calls, we missing clients, we can't work.
Well, Mr.
We
Zachary,
can't
hold tight. I hear you. I hear you. Let me hear from Mr. Israel because there's been quite a bit of testimony by you guys. Obviously, there's two of you. But I want to hear his response. Mr. Israel, tell me. I got a couple questions for you, but one, are you responsible for the Wi-Fi?
Judge, I'm sorry. You see me laughing at these issues because
it's but let me remind you, man.
It's just not.
You're trying to evict
it's not
them.
true.
It's a serious issue. But
Yeah, I understand. It is very serious, but
do you control? Listen to me. Listen to me.
Yes.
Because I'm a patient person, but when I want to answer, I want to answer. Do you control the internet?
Yes, I do.
Do you? So for both parties, for you and the Miss Durden Zachary.
Yes, I do.
Have you ever changed the password?
Yeah, I've changed the password, but there's reasons. There's
No,
reasons for it.
listen to me. Have you changed the password to like be better have my money and things of that nature?
No, I have not.
You have not. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I have not.
All right. And in addition to, just want to make sure. I know they said that they did not pay in January because you said you cut off the Wi-Fi. Have you ever cut the Wi-Fi off for them in any period of time that they've been leasing?
No, I have not.
So you're saying that their inability to have internet would just be something that is of their imagination or something separate than other than you're doing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's something separate other than my doing, and they know why. But they're,
when you say they know why, can you tell me why? So I don't.
Meaning that there was a problem with the internet. I had to get a splitter to expand the internet to that side of the house. I did that, and it still didn't work. So I had someone come. They know I had AT&T coming several times. I can prove that. I can get you that if you need it. They came several times to fix the internet. Even one time, because I know they have to work. But just a caveat, the Wi-Fi isn't part of the utilities, and I have it in my lease, what the utilities cover. We can get back to that. But I was at work. These people, when they come, they give you a window. The window is like it could be from like.
Well, hold on. I'll be frank with you. That's not really relevant to me. Let me ask you this. did you tell them that they were behind on rent before you filed the eviction action? Because they said they didn't know. The only notice that they got was from the marshals.
Your Honor, if you go to your Exhibit B,
Sure.
the letter was sent out. Please go to Exhibit B.
Mm-hmm.
And you can read for yourself. They were well aware 2 months in advance.
No, wait.
Okay.
I don't care about a 2-month in advance notice because they were current in December and they were current in November.
No,
So,
but
were
I
you
have to
canceling
let
the
them know.
contract? Did you give them a 60 notice to cancel, or did you give them a 60-day notice that non-payment?
No, what I told them, as you can see in the letter, what I told them is that I was letting them know that at the end of their lease in February, on February 1st, that I would not be extending their lease.
Okay. What about
Okay.
after they didn't pay in January, though?
And that's why they didn't pay, because their lease wasn't being extended. So they were going to take that money to go wherever they were planning to go, and they needed an excuse to not pay me my rent. So when I advised them that they were not being extended in February, that's when all these problems came up. I have in my lease, it says that you have to let me know in advance if you have any repairs that need to be done or anything. I mean, when the AC went off, they quickly told me about that. And I got it fixed the next day. Anything that's ever been wrong.
Wait, listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me. And I don't like to make light of these things, but folks come here and they make both parties make a lot of allegations, right? And we can go far and far deep into your personal. That's why it's a landlord-tenant relationship. That's not my primary concern. As I told everybody at the beginning, you either meet the terms and the requirements or you don't.
Right.
The letter that you've identified to me, Exhibit B, is not a demand of possession. Did you provide any other letter beyond this before you filed the eviction? They're saying they got no notice. When did you send that letter?
Yes, I did. I sent it in a text as well.
Okay.
And I informed them that they needed to vacate the premises by the end of the month because they didn't pay they wasn't on the 5th, they didn't pay their rent, which was actually switched to the 1st in the beginning of the lease because we
So when did you send that?
I sent that on, hold on, I have it. I sent that in as well. I'm trying to see what exhibit it is.
Same day that you filed the disposition. Here, so it'll change, show up.
All right. Well, listen. You said you sent them a text. When did you send the text?
Yes, I sent them a text to inform them. It was on the 6th of December. Of January.
Did you ever provide them with a written notice asking them to pay rent and any of the late fees that you referenced?
Yes, I asked them to pay their rent several times.
Did you give them written notice?
Yes, I did.
When did you give them the written notice?
I put it in the text. It was written.
That's not written, buddy.
So
that's not written. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but people come and they're very confident about what they think they know. And when I tell them, do you have a written? They don't tell me what I'm asking. They don't give me the answer. They say it's text, it's emailed, and the law requires that you give a written notice. It usually is posted on the door. I've made that announcement when I started the hearing. So if you know you haven't done that, if you know you haven't done that, then you know that you won't be able to get what you want. So have you done that?
When I put the written notice on the door, he went outside the door, he ripped it up, he took it off the door, ripped it up and threw it away. It was a written notice outside the door. I put it on there with tape, and he took it and ripped it up and threw it away.
And when did you put it on? Hold on, Mr. Zachary. Just wait. I'm curious what Mr. Israel's saying. When did you do
on
that?
the 6th?
You put it on the
6th of January.
Okay, and you're saying you put it on their door and they ripped it off?
No, he ripped it off.
No, he ripped
I didn't rip it off.
So when you told me that you sent a text first, that was you just misstated and said you must have put it on the door as well. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Do you have a picture of that letter that you put on the door, take a picture of it to show
No,
that you
Your Honor, I didn't take a picture of it, and I didn't misstate it. I did send them a text first, and then I put it on the door on the 6th.
Can you tell me what that letter said? Do you have a copy of it?
Yes, it says you are being asked to vacate due to non-payment of rent.
And what else?
And that's basically what it says. Like,
That's not enough. That means I know you didn't do what you're supposed to do. Because you're like,
No.
you're just saying whatever.
Why would I just say whatever?
The law requires, just so, because I try to remind everybody of this. This is why I caution people to go to trial. If you don't know what you're doing, you may not get what you want. And I always like to make sure people know what they're doing, because I rule as the law requires. And that's why I just ask the questions. I'm not trying to be mean or difficult. I understand that you served them. I understand that you sent them a letter in December saying that you're not going to renew the lease. Obviously, they have through January to continue that process. The issues that you have with the parking, that seems to be not a major issue. Not really. That's not a breach. The issues with the internet, like you said, there's a
Your Honor, there's a few more issues.
Don't
There's
overtalk me.
several issues.
Don't overtalk me. Just stop.
Forgive me. I'm sorry.
But what I'm just trying to just express to you is that this is simply at this juncture, since they're saying they didn't pay rent, and that's a problem. The only issue though after that is, did you give them the appropriate notice that they could cure? They must be able to have an opportunity to cure, which is where you give them a 3-day letter that's posted to the door, identifying what the breach is, what the amount, if any, that they have to pay. And if they don't pay this amount within the 3 days of this posting, you'll be able to exercise your right to file an eviction. That's what the law is. If you didn't, I'm going to ask them, did you do that? Right? And if you can't produce to me any evidence, then that becomes problematic. So, Ms. Durden, did Mr. Israel post a letter on you guys' door indicating that you guys had to pay a certain amount of money before he filed the eviction action?
Mr. Israel is in court lying under oath, Judge.
But that's not what I asked. I asked, did he put a letter on your door identifying the default and what amount that you need to pay in order to get out of default?
No, sir. We knew nothing about any. The dispossessory guy came with the paperwork telling us that a dispossessory has been filed. There was nothing else on the door. There was nothing else. No, not at all, Judge.
Mr. Zachary, he's indicating that you did see it on the door and that you in fact ripped it off. Is that true?
No, Your Honor, that's not true. He has cameras over the door. Tell him to produce me ripping it off. There's a camera over the door. Secondly, the writ the dispossessory was filed on the 5th. If he did it.
Now the judge steps in and shifts the focus away from all the dramatic accusations to something much simpler, the law. He carefully questions the landlord about whether he followed the proper legal steps before filing the eviction. That's when the critical mistake becomes clear. The landlord admits he didn't provide the required 3-day written notice, giving the tenants a chance to pay before filing the case. Because of that single procedural failure, the judge dismisses the entire eviction action. Just like that, the case collapses, not because of the drama, but because the rules weren't followed. If you found this breakdown interesting,
on the 6th, he's still out of bounds, but he never did it at all. Secondly, third,
he's made a great point, Mr. Israel. He's made a great point.
How can you file the paperwork first, then come back and say that you did that? He let lying through his teeth, man. Excuse me, y'all.
Point. No.
The only person lying is you.
Well, folks, let's pause, Mr. Israel. You did file this action, just so we are clear, Mr. Israel, based on your own testimony, right? This action was filed January 5th, which generally would be the last day for folks to pay rent before they're deemed late, right?
Right.
So I'm going to ask you again, because you have to give the letter on the door 3 days before you file. So when did you put the letter on the door?
It wasn't filed 3 days. I didn't put the letter on the door 3 days. It was the day after.
Okay. So let me tell you, I don't want to be difficult, right? However, if you put, let's say I believe what you're saying. The problem with what you've done is that you can't do it after the fact. You must give folks an opportunity to cure, particularly when the default is a failure to pay rent, which is what you've alleged on your complaint. I hate that you folks at this juncture have not been able to come to an agreement and resolve. But what I do is I remind everybody, once you come to me, I'm going to make sure all the check boxes are marked. Because in this particular state, you can quickly have somebody evicted. And that's totally fine. But that just means you have to follow all of the rules, even when it seems difficult. That's all I'm saying. So since you did not timely put the letter on the door informing them of how they could avoid having this action filed, I'm going to dismiss the case. Now, Ms. Durden, Mr. Zachary, you still have not paid rent. That money technically is still owed at this juncture. And it sounds like your lease is going to expire in a couple of days. What you do is what you do, but just be aware of that as well.
In a day, Your Honor, in a day.
I understand. So again, I'm just informing them of what's going on as well. But as far as this evening and the action that you filed now, it's going to be dismissed because you didn't give a 3-day demand. All right, so I'm going to put that order in and you folks are free to go.
Hold up, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I have a counterclaim.
I understand, and in considering that there's outstanding
out of my house.
rent,
That's it.
listen,
Just out.
well, I can't do that by order because you didn't give the 3-day demand. And Mr. Zachary, regarding your counterclaims, because there still seems to be an outstanding claim of rent, I think it would be appropriate at that juncture for you to have those matters at least dismissed without prejudice. And that just means that you can go ahead and bring him again if he brings another action against you at this juncture, okay?
Your Honor, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, sir.
Would this be considered 3 days notice? Can I serve them now?
Not via this particular hearing. No, you got to put it on the door, brother. You can't just skip a step.
No, I mean, but they've been notified now. They've been.
No, it's not. That's not how it works, man. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. I've literally explained everybody what the law is. Don't. Every time you try to skip a step, this is going to happen. Don't skip a step. Don't skip a step. And Mr. Zachary and Ms. Durden, again, if he files again, which he may or may not, I'm not sure, that's his prerogative. Those counterclaims that you've made, we can address them at that time, but they'll be dismissed without prejudice. Mr. Zachary, I'm sorry, you had a question.
Thank you for your time, Judge.
So how would I file my, so I got to file my claim and just file me a suit myself separately?
No, you do not. I mean, if he files again, you feel free to either address those counterclaims again, or you can file a separate suit. But because today,
file a separate suit.
Because today he has not met one of the statutory requirements, but that does not still resolve the issue of unpaid rent. I'm finding it appropriate to essentially have your counterclaims dismissed without prejudice so that you can bring them again if you so desire. And if he wants to bring a dispo action, he can. But
what I want to say, this categorizes as a self-eviction because
now,
he is.
Mr. Zachary, you aren't being evicted because you're still there and he doesn't have a rent. But I'm going to let you folks go. That's my ruling. And you guys have a blessed evening. Okay, I got some other matters. Thank you.
All right.